Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for watching. Tonight, a tragic outcome after a Windsor woman goes missing. Plus, an offer is on the table for the electric vehicle battery plant. We'll bring you the very latest. A community group is calling for more policing around a Windsor park after an assault over the weekend. And 7-Eleven Canada has the green light to sell beer, wine, and coolers. One of the stores already offering this happens to be in our region. We begin tonight with a difficult story. Nearly 2 weeks after a Windsor woman went missing, her estranged husband has been charged with first-degree murder. CBC's Jennifer Lagrasa has been looking into this case, and she joins me now live in studio. Jen, what do we know about the woman who died?
Her name is Sarah Boulay, and she was 36 years old. And according to signs that were put up across the downtown, Boulay was a University of Windsor student, and she was last seen on the evening of May 26th. Today, less than 2 weeks since she's gone missing, Windsor police say they have charged her estranged husband with first-degree murder. And his name is Brian Aaron Marbury. He's 45 years old and is from Michigan. Police say that they arrested the suspect last night, just after 9 p.m. near the Windsor-Detroit tunnel. 2 days ago, Boulay's mother, Fartumo Kusau, put out a plea on Instagram, asking people to help find her daughter.
If you know anything, seen anything, heard anything, please share that information with the police by calling the number on the screen. And if you don't know anything, please pray for my daughter's safe return.
The Major Crimes Unit is still searching for Boulay, and they're asking for the public to share any tips that they might have. But Kat, they said that they had significant evidence which allowed investigators to get a warrant for Marbury's arrest.
Jen, how is the community reacting to this?
Those that I spoke with say that they are heartbroken and they're disappointed. The people that I talked to said that, they didn't know Boulay personally, but they saw that she was missing and were hoping for a different outcome. Black and Missing is an organization that posts about missing people. They say they heard directly from Boulay's mom just the other day.
It's just really sad. It's really hard, for any family to be able to deal with something like this, and even for our organization, because once we're able to connect with these families, they become part of our family. And hearing that news, less than 24 hours after connecting with her, it's really sad that this is the outcome for this case.
Hiatus House is a women and children's shelter in Windsor, and they often take in women who are leaving domestic abuse and violence. They say that they're advocating that femicide, which is when women are killed by men, and gender-based violence be recognized by municipalities as an epidemic.
In Windsor, we know there have been several femicides in the last couple of years. And those are, again, just the ones that we know about. It's not something that's getting better as time goes on. We're seeing more extreme cases of violence. And as we just heard, there was this terrible loss in our community.
Gunther says that as a society, we also need to change the way we respond to missing persons reports by treating them more urgently. If you are experiencing domestic violence, Hiatus House has a 24-hour crisis line. That's at 519-252-7781. Or you can go online to their website. Again, Kat, in this case, police say that they're still looking for Boulay, so they ask anyone with tips to come to them. Police say we can expect to hear more information tomorrow.
Thanks for this, Jen. And Windsor police are asking for the public's help in another case. They're looking for a man who they say sexually assaulted a young girl in South Walkerville on Saturday. As Del Molnar reports, the incident has a neighborhood watch group looking for more enforcement in the park where it happened.
People say Optimist Memorial Park is already a hot spot for trouble. A watch group has been formed because of fires in the woods, and now another concern. Windsor police say that last Saturday around 10 p.m., a young girl was approached by an unidentified man, and after a brief conversation, he sexually assaulted her, stole some of her belongings, and rode off on a bike. They describe him as being 30 to 40 years old, between 5'8" and 5'11" inches tall, with a slender medium build. They see he had a slender face with a cleft chin, short hair, muscular calves, and hairy legs. They say at the time he was wearing a white hat, white T-shirt, and beige shorts and black shoes.
I would like to see more auxiliary people down there. and more people later at night. It seems that that's when things are happening, later at night. So I know a lot of people don't like going out at night, but somebody needs to be there to keep an eye on stuff.
This mother says she feels safer in a larger group when in the park.
When I was younger, we didn't have to worry about that all as much, but now it seems like with all the human trafficking and the sex trafficking, it's scary even to send your kids out to play in the park anymore.
The head of the Neighborhood Watch Group says people shouldn't be alone in the park.
We've been stepping up patrols as much as we can be. The thing that we ask is just be active at the park. Be present, let yourself known, travel in pairs, don't travel alone, just be at the park, more people at the park, more activities going on, the less likely things like this will happen.
The executive director of Parks and Facilities says city staff are in the park daily and they have auxiliary police patrolling.
This time of year, we have staff within our parks cleaning, maintaining, opening, closing washrooms, almost 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we have those type of two different activities where we're just having a presence within our parks to get additional eyes on things to help to alert us to any sort of activities that are going forward that would then, potentially require, a uniformed response from the Windsor Police Services.
Chaco says there is a curfew between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. in all parks. He says it will be up to City Council to impose an earlier curfew. Windsor Police are asking area residents to check their surveillance camera footage and their dash cam footage from between 8 and 10 p.m. Saturday night to see if they have anything that could help them. They're asking people to call the Major Crimes Unit if they can help. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
An update now on a story we brought you last week. 3 people have been arrested in connection to what officers called an extremely vicious assault downtown. Police say they're continuing to search for 2 more unidentified suspects. And an update on the negotiations about the EV battery plant. Ottawa has sent a new offer to Stellantis and LG Energy Solutions. A spokesperson for Stellantis confirms lawyers are reviewing the offer. Politicians say they're optimistic.
I think we have made significant progress. We're getting to the end of that. And like I said, my job has always been to get the best possible deal for the workers, for the industry, and for Canada.
And I think is it a final offer, or is it as far as you'll go? Or are you prepared? You're describing it as a negotiation, so that suggests you're prepared to ante up more.
Well, it would not be smart for me to negotiate in public. These things are complex. You've seen it played a bit in the media. What matters is that we're making progress, and like I said, I think we're getting to the end of it.
Construction stopped at the battery plant last month. There are 2,500 jobs attached to the project. And last week, Premier Doug Ford said he thought a deal was inches away. Now, this deal is expected to mirror tax credits offered in the United States. Those credits would be worth billions. Analysts say it could be similar to what was offered to Volkswagen for its future plant in St. Thomas. They're getting up to $13 billion from the federal government. Ontario says it is ready to put up 1/3 of the costs of the new deal for the EV battery plant here in Windsor. Production at the plant is supposed to start next year. The head of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association says he's been getting questions about the value of these investments.
Lots of pushback, lots of public debate, a lot of people talking about other priorities across this country, both commercial priorities, regional priorities, social priorities. And it's incumbent on people like me to explain what the return is on this. And then for people to make their own judgment on whether that opportunity cost is worth it. We're very sensitive to the fact that these types of investments are really southwestern Ontario or perhaps up the supply chain into Quebec. So I want to be very respectful when you're trying to sell this in Alberta, where we're challenging them to transition out of the industry that pays their bills. We're into a new world where the automotive industry and people who represent it have to also be part of that solution for the industries that we are potentially retiring from over the decades. And so there's a lot of work to be done by people like me, by the federal government. The provincial government less work to do because they only have to worry about Ontario. But even within Ontario, we've got a lot of priorities.
Windsor's Public School Board says its special education program is significantly underfunded. Trustees will hear a presentation from staff later tonight. A report prepared by staff says the board is expecting 200 more students with special education needs next year. Staff say 14 new classrooms will be needed, and these are classes that cater to individual needs of students. Overall, the deficit for the special education program sits at around $10 million. Tonight's public meeting will start at 7. Ontario authorities have given more than 50 7-Eleven stores permission to sell wine and beer. One of the first to serve alcohol, that was in Leamington last year. Now there are stores in Western Canada also seeking a liquor license. Mike Crawley has more.
So what 7-Eleven has here in Ontario are restaurant-style liquor licenses. So that means people can't take the beer and wine out of the store. They actually have to drink it on the site in a seating area at the convenience store. Now, 7-Eleven declined our request for an interview about their plan here, but they did allow a CBC videographer inside a store, and you can see that the beer and wine are in fridges, except these fridges are locked and they have to be opened by a staff member. Now, 7-Eleven has won approval for liquor licenses at more than 50 stores across Ontario. There's actually 11 stores in Alberta that started serving alcohol in that province late last year, and unlike Ontario, in Alberta, they allow takeout and delivery of beer and wine from these licensed convenience stores. Some people in the industry here in Ontario are hoping that this is a first step towards full-fledged sales of beer and wine from convenience stores.
It's the first step in demonstrating to citizens and people in Ontario that the world won't end, because, finally a convenience store with hot food is actually offering you a cold beverage if you want to sit in the store.
Now, even before Doug Ford was elected premier, he was promising to open up beer and wine sales from convenience stores in Ontario. That was 5 years ago, but Ford hasn't been able to make good on that promise yet. And that's largely because of a contract between the province and the beer store, the big retailer here in Ontario that's owned by Labatt and Molson's. And that contract stipulates where beer can be sold from, and it doesn't allow for sales from convenience stores. Lots of sales from grocery stores, supermarkets, but that contract expires in 2025, and all the signs indicate that when that does happen, we will see full-fledged beer and wine sales from convenience stores, just like across the border in Quebec. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
This here is not a live look outside. It's also not our tower camera. What you're looking at is smoke in New Jersey, and it's coming from the wildfires in Ontario and Quebec. It really gives you a true sense of how far this problem is spreading. Coming up, we'll have the latest on the fires, air quality concerns, and of course, your weather. Stay with us. Wildfires are burning across the country in every province and territory except for PEI and Nunavut. The situation across eastern Ontario continues to worsen, and in Quebec, while there's hope in some communities, there's growing concern in others, and we've seen the smoke move through Ontario. As Jennifer Yoon reports, it's triggering air quality warnings.
Relief along with the rainfall. In some parts of Quebec, the situation is getting better, like in Sept-Îles, which was under threat for days. Now, those who are evacuated in that city allowed to return. And while the situation is improving in some parts of the province, there are others that are still a cause for concern, says Premier François Legault.
Right now, our preoccupation are about Abitibi, so mainly Le Bel-Sur-Quévillon and Nord-Métal, Chisasibi in the north of Quebec, where we have to be careful.
Indeed, that part of the province, Abitibi in the west, has dozens of fires still burning. Many of them are out of control and threatening people's homes and livelihoods. François Bonnardel, Quebec's public security minister, says over 5,000 people still can't return to their homes, and it's not clear when they can return.
It's quite complicated to said to you that tomorrow it's going to be better. We have around 78 fires right now in Témiscamingue and Abitibi. We are fighting about 12 of them and hoping that we will be able to combat and fight strongly those fires. So we will see what's going to happen in the next hours, next days.
All of this is having a far-reaching and dramatic impact on air quality. Among the worst affected areas are Kingston and Ottawa. And things were so bad in Ottawa this morning, in fact, that the risk level went literally off the charts. Sports games were canceled, teachers being asked to cancel outdoor activities and close the windows of their classrooms. We've even heard from a patient who says that their surgery in the Ottawa area was canceled due to the air quality. Now, Environment Canada says that those who are in affected areas should change their behavior, especially those who have chronic conditions like asthma and COPD. They should take special care, avoid going outside, close their windows, and avoid strenuous exercise. Jennifer Yoon, CBC News, Montreal.
Matt Hamill joins us for a look at our weather forecast. Matt, another very warm day today, but also hazy once again, which we know is coming from those wildfires.
Yeah, that's right, Katerina. Air quality is what we're focusing on, and we can see all of this smoke that we're seeing in parts of Quebec and southern Ontario. And we're going to be really seeing these wildfires in Quebec mainly driving all this smoke and this poor air quality. Taking a look at some of the weather alerts in effect, we see the air quality advisories not issued for Windsor and much of southwestern Ontario, but such a large area dealing with that poor air quality. And it was real bad in Ottawa. Once you get into the 7 range and above on the air quality health index, that's when you're getting into pretty serious territory with the harmful air quality. Toronto was in the 5 area today. Windsor was sitting at about a 4. Tomorrow might get bumped up to a 5. That's still in the moderate risk range. Most people are still going to be able to get outdoors and enjoy their activities problem-free, but you might see some of that irritation of the throat and eyes, coughing, something to monitor. Here's a look at some rain. When maybe are these Quebec wildfires going to get some rain to kind of cool things off? Unfortunately, looking over the next few days, it's just really not reaching that far west. But it's been good news for the Maritime, seeing quite a bit of rain for the wildfire situation out there. On to more specific weather details now. Temperatures are going to be pretty stable for the remainder of the week, much closer to seasonal compared to that summer-like heat we saw last week. Now, Saturday, quite a bump in temperatures we can expect, and then potentially some meaningful rain. This will be good. The fire danger rating, even here in southern Ontario, has been escalating with all of this dry weather. As far as wind speeds go, tomorrow afternoon, we could see quite brisk for much of southwestern Ontario. Wind gusts approaching 50 kilometers per hour for Windsor, and even into our day Thursday, still a bit brisk. And again, some of these more northerly winds are helping to drive the smoky conditions, bringing that smoky air into the region. This evening, we're looking at temperatures still quite warm, some good shorts and t-shirt weather. Overnight remaining in double digits for many areas, 12 degrees for Windsor. And for our day tomorrow, not much clouds, but still expecting it to be quite hazy, Katerina, with all of that wildfire smoke.
Thanks for that, Matt. Appreciate it.
You got it.
When we come back, Special Rapporteur David Johnston faces tough questioning from MPs. Stay with us. Special Rapporteur David Johnston faced tough questions from MPs while testifying at a parliamentary committee today. Johnston defended his reputation and his decision to reject a public inquiry into foreign interference allegations in Canadian politics. Rafi Bujikanian has the story.
David Johnston facing criticism in person.
As Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau described you as a lifelong family friend, a friendship cemented over many summers.
I was friends of the father of Mr. Trudeau through his life in politics.
His ties to the Prime Minister painting a target on his back for the Conservatives since March, when Justin Trudeau appointed him as Special Rapporteur looking into foreign interference in Canadian elections and asked him to make the call on whether there should be a public inquiry. Johnston has urged against one, landing him in this seat to explain himself.
The Conservatives just had a total of 15 minutes worth of questions, and they didn't ask a single question about foreign interference. Not a single question. Madam Chair, it was nothing more than a character assassination.
The questions eventually came, including from some of the opposition MPs whose names have been at the center of news reports alleging China targeted them for their vocal opposition to Beijing's human rights record.
Do you not see how recommending against a public inquiry undermines confidence in our democratic institutions?
What we have recommended and what we intend to do in the next 5 months is to have public hearings.
What is your concept of the appearance of conflict, and what does that mean to you?
The appearance of a conflict of interest would be a reasonable person in possession of all the true facts, concluding that a person would not be able to provide unbiased judgment on a particular matter.
Next month, Johnston intends to start public hearings speaking to intelligence officials and diaspora communities, but opposition parties have already voted for a public inquiry instead 3 times now, their judgment of his work proving difficult to sway. Rafi Bujikani, CBC News, Ottawa.
Big news in the world of professional golf today. The PGA Tour is forming a partnership with the Saudi-backed Live Golf. This effectively ends a dispute that has cast a cloud over men's golf for a year. The agreement combines the two entities' commercial businesses and rights into a new company. The announcement comes a year after Live Golf began. Players on that tour were barred from competing at PGA Tour events. The rival tours have been involved in several legal disputes. Under the agreement, all pending litigation will be dropped. Some people living in suburban Ottawa are caught in a spat with their neighbor over his plan to build an airstrip in his backyard. The proposed runway would allow small planes to fly in and out of the rural community about 35 kilometers west of the city. Guy Kenville has the story.
This is 6 Line Road in Dunrobin, where one resident plans to build an airstrip for planes to fly in and out of his private plot of land. But for some neighbors, the idea has yet to land.
Well, we're in the middle of nowhere, and that's how we like it. Like, it's countryside, right? Country living, and that's why we moved out here. We don't want an airport in our backyard. Another is environmental pollution. I mean, I've got an organically certified hobby farm here, and having jet spray from planes, potentially being sprayed on my property is not a good thing.
Those who live nearby say they're dissatisfied with the consultation process. Some say they weren't approached at all. This right here appears to be the main public notice, posted on the side of the road. The man behind the runway declined to be interviewed, but Les Nagy says he's following the rules laid out by Transport Canada and that there's already air traffic in the area. When it comes to consultation, he says he only has to notify those whose land borders his.
I'm upset that it's such a short process, right? That doesn't have any oversight by the city of Ottawa, and that the citizens of the community that are more the residential neighborhood that are most directly affected weren't consulted.
There's a group that always wants not in my backyard and so wants to shut it down.
This aviation lawyer says Nagy is technically right, but
the other one is, they just, they don't want to talk to me. Well, I think you should talk to them.
Airstrips are federal jurisdiction, but proponents need to consult municipalities too. Monday, the city of Ottawa said it hadn't heard from Nagy and that it would only provide feedback if it was asked to. Guy Kenville, CBC News, Ottawa.
Before we go, some news just coming to us now. Windsor police have an active search underway off Huron Church just past Malden. Police have sections of the area blocked off with caution tape. The forensic identification unit is on scene. And these photos show officers in full white coats searching the grassy area. It's in the 1900 block of Northway. Our reporter Jennifer LaGrassa is also heading to the scene, and we will have more details online as this story develops. And that is at cbc.ca/Windsor. Thanks so much for watching and have a great night.